which we all either love or hate. Second one is digital organisation and decluttering, or I call it digital hoarding because we all have a problem with it, whether we like to admit it or not. And the third one is my top 5 apps. Now, these change on a constant basis, but there's certain things that I really am passionate about doing. So, what emails do you hold on to? And do you have a system for dealing with it? So I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to talk to about them, the emails that you hold on to and the ones you just can't let go because you just might need them one day. You've got 2 minutes, go. So, going from the back of a room, I want to hear some horror stories. I want to hear you have 4,500 emails sitting in your inbox and you don't know what to do with them. Put your hand up if you have over 1,000 emails at the moment sitting in your inbox. Keep your hand up raised if you have more than 3. 3,000 emails. You know where it's got that, when you open like on your iPad or your iPhone and it says 3,105? Well, I'm scared to ask any more. Hands down. So, everybody has ways of dealing with email, and some of the interesting research that has come out from a neuroscience point of view, actually out of Canada, has showed that people who check their emails, they did 2 tests. Check it twice between 9 o'clock and say 3 o'clock. So they checked it twice in the day. Real estate, those in the property sector tell me that they can't not. And what's happened in certain industries is that our time management, because we've got the devices there, we feel that we actually have to reply to the email. And I often talk to principals because I'm still in the education industry, and often principals will get emails at 10 o'clock at night saying, you know, my child has got this, this and this. Deal with it now. Even though they've got their own family lives to deal with. Email has kind of overtaken that family boundary time. Whether you've got a family or you don't, it's just overtaken. So I always challenge people how they deal with their emails. I have 2 theories of email. One is you either file it or you think that. So you can get down to inbox 0. Who knows what inbox? Who can tell me what inbox 0 means? Is it?
Every email that comes in, you deal with it so that on a constant basis, your actual inbox is empty.
Exactly. So when you're looking at your number of it says actually 0. So they're either filed or you've done something with it. The other one is automation. So what happens is that when you get an email, when it comes in, it gets filed automatically. I do that with one client of mine, only because I have to keep track of every single email. However, there's one slight problem with that. Out of sight, out of mind. So unless you see that little kind of 1, 2 or 3, like my website designer, go into that folder so I don't lose any, but I've got to then check. Email addiction. I'll just read this out because it is a bit tiny. It says, I'm addicted to email. My endorphins spike when I get a message. When there are no messages, loneliness and despair overcome me. Have you tried sending email to yourself? We don't talk about it. And I think this is a perfect example of, it's like I love getting mail out of the letterbox. Unfortunately, my youngest, who's 4, loves it too. He gets really annoyed when mummy gets it out of the letterbox instead of her. What's the difference between email? And I think it's, if we haven't got, as a small business owner, we haven't got emails, are we getting leads? Are people wanting to inquire about our business? And so sometimes we track how much our self-worth is by how many emails are coming in, regardless. So that's just my thought.
So I ask a question?
Yes?
Is it reasonable, like if you have a web page and you have a contact me page or something like that, is it reasonable to say that my business coach has taught me that I must only check emails twice a day and give them a heads up as to when I can expect a response?
So do you know what, the one of the guys I know, Russell Scott, who's a time management guy, actually has on the bottom of his email signature, I only check my emails at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. If you want to contact me, ring.
So do you think that's a good idea? Or?
Well, it does depend on your business.
Yeah, well,
but,
I think it's a good idea for me, but is it a good idea for my clients? It works for me, absolutely.
But what it does, and what I noticed with this guy, and I know a few other people who do it, and it's quite clearly in their email signature, you know if it's urgent, you'll get it to them by those times. They will respond, but it's also getting the way of, because sending an email is so quick. You know, like, send it off, it's done and dusted. The other problem with also, like, I've got a contact me page, down at the bottom of my website, the amount of inquiries, or people find me through other means, and it's usually via social media often, or, picking up the phone. I've now learnt, probably the hard way, that picking up the phone is a much quicker way of solving a problem. Pinning someone down going, you haven't paid, have you signed the contract, what are we doing? Because you can pin them down and, I'll be backwards and forwards, and then someone goes, look, I just thought it was easy to pick up and ring. Thank you so much. And people are actually relieved to hear that now. So anyway, this is the GTD theory. GTD just means get things done. And it came from David Allen's book, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. So when you're dealing with email, can I deal with it under 2 minutes? Yes, no. It's kind of a flow chart. Can I delegate it? Can I shoot it off to someone else? So for example, in my business, I have my amazing husband who's also my business manager and my editor and my PA and my booking agent, amongst other things. And I have now learnt I delegate. I don't need to be doing this. I push it on. Delete. Do I really need to hold on to it? Or can I archive and defer? Can I deal with this in half an hour, half a day's time? Is it super urgent? Do I need to deal with it? So that's just my thing. Now, some of you would have got subscriptions to emails, like you just want that free ebook, or you want that free CD, or you want that free white paper, whatever it is. And so you sign up. My one piece of golden advice today, if you've never heard of this tool before, it's called Unroll.me. And I'll send out the presentation with John's notes as well. Unroll Me, I use for emails that I subscribe to, or things I've subscribed to, things like LinkedIn, Twitter notifications, Facebook, to a cloud-based email service. So a Gmail, or a Yahoo, or a Hotmail, or an iCloud address. The reason why? You can actually bundle them up with the, excuse me, into one email per day. So I used to have 50 emails a day of, like someone's connected with you on LinkedIn, or, a Twitter response. I get one email in the morning from Unroll Me in a folder on my inbox, because I'm a Mac user. It has a folder called Unroll Me, so I can go and read them individually if I want. But do you know what? I quickly scan and you realise you don't always need it. And that's just the biggest thing. You don't always need it. So it's free to use. So especially when you're doing those subscriptions, like, it might be subscription to a Groupon or Living Social Deals or Pinterest or whatever those, when you subscribe, use a cloud-based email address so you can roll them all up into one, and then it will send you notifications. You have 156 subscriptions. What do you want to do with them? Do you want to roll them up into one email per day? Or do you actually need to unsubscribe? So one of my clients had subscribed to 250 things. So she was getting 250 emails every single morning. and this is a client who had 4,500 emails and literally had got to the stage of paralysis. Because she was like, it's like the white elephant in the room. She just did not want to look at it. So highly recommend Unroll Me. It's free. If you're on your mobile device, Mailbox is a great app for email. Now, it works probably more with your cloud-based clients, and there's some other ones that are great for Outlook if you're an Outlook user. But the reason I like this is based on that defer method. So later today, this evening, tomorrow, the weekend, next week, in a month, someday, desktop, big date. And so what happens, and there's another app called Boomerang, and it will actually, which is Boomerang's for Gmail, but it will send the email out. So you say, don't really need to deal with it, but put it back up in my face in half a day or tomorrow. Don't need to deal with it now. Still important, but it balances. The idea of Boomerang obviously coming back to you. So Mailboxes are really cool. It's for iOS, so iPad and iPhone. Just as a way of keeping you, so you can either, and most of these ones are you swipe to the left to right, delete, defer, and actually deal with it. So that's just my point of view. Okay, Evernote, and a bit of a shameless plug here. There is an Evernote event coming up. I will send the details out with John's email. As was mentioned before, I'm an Evernote Business Certified Consultant. I'm the only one in Victoria. There's 3 in Brisbane, 3 in Sydney. We did our certification last year. And I've been using Evernote since 2009. And it's my knowledge management system. So this is actually the iPhone view. But you can see images on this side and some to-do lists. So I use Evernote for grocery lists. I use it for my clients. I use it for planning holidays. I use it for projects. Evernote is flexible enough to be bent to whatever you need it to use for. So the fact that I can add images, I can add voice, I can add text. Actually, I want you to turn to the person next to you on your table how you take notes. Are you a handwriter? Are you voice? Do you do better with dictation? Because some people are. Some people like to draw. I'm a mind mapper. I love drawing my notes. So, turn to the person next to you. How do you take notes best? Off you go. Ooh, got lots of handwriters. Put your hand up if you're someone who likes to dictate their ideas. If they could dictate, record them via voice. Okay, there's a few of you. Because there's some great programs out there. Put your hand up if you're a typist. There's a few. Put your hand up if you're a drawer. You like to doodle. Beautiful. So everybody has a different way of learning. So this is one of the benefits of some of the benefits of Evernote. It's basically a knowledge management system. Everybody goes, how would I use Evernote? It's a knowledge management system, and it's the icon is the green elephant, which is there, and it's to remember anything. So I can store images, text, and audio. And for those who do like that voice, it's called voice to text. So when you kind of speak and it translates as text. If you have an iPhone and an iPad or an Android phone, when you download Evernote, there is a little icon that's a microphone. When you tap that and record your voice, now depending on your accent, or depending on how well it translates, but you should get it pretty close. And so it's voice to text, and it's really powerful. When you just need to get those ideas down, you don't necessarily want to handwrite, you just want to do it. So that's one of the benefits of Evernote. The other thing is, some of you who are handwriters, how many of you have got notebooks after notebooks after notebooks after notebooks? Because you handwrite your notes. Or when you come to these great things, I can guarantee you, you'll get given beautiful manuals. But the problem is, unless you actually transfer that information, scan it, and file it, guaranteed it will just sit in that workbook. So you can find things easily. If you used, put your hand up if you're an iPhone or iPad user. Put your hand up if you're an Android user. So with Evernote, what you can do is you can take a scan of the page and it will look for typed text within that image, which is a really powerful thing. It's called optical character recognition, and OneNote also does it as well. but it's a really handy tool because you might go, I've met someone at this event, can't remember her name, but I can remember she does Evernote. And so it will go looking for the word Evernote anywhere in your notes, whether it's in an image, whether it's in handwriting, whether it's in typed text. If you have Evernote Premium now, they've just changed their tier structure slightly. They'll now have free, Evernote Plus, Evernote Premium, Evernote Business. The Evernote Plus is what Evernote Free used to be. So the Evernote Free, you only get 60 meg per month, which is minimal. If you're using images, it will click over quite quickly. If you have Evernote Premium, which is US $56.99 a year, I don't know what that translates to Australia now with the currency, but yeah, about $70. That enables you to scan business cards. Now, when you come to these networking events, it's brilliant. You get all these business cards. How many of you have got a pile of business cards just sitting there? So what I try and do now, I'm not always the best practice. Someone will give me a business card, I get my phone out, or my iPad out more likely, scan the business card and hand it back. And someone looks at me and goes, you just did what? Like the identity thing that is attached to someone's business card. And in some cultures, especially Asian cultures, it's a sign of respect. So you're handing them the card back. You're just like, you don't want me? You don't love me? But Evernote Premium, and there are a lot of other business card scanners, but with apps, the biggest thing I will say, and this is one of my passions, is you need to be able to information in, you need to be able to do something with the information out, and you need to be able to export it. Syncs across devices, so it doesn't matter if you have an iPad and then an Android phone and then a Mac. So I have a Mac, a Windows laptop, a iPad, iPod Touch and an Android phone because I actually have to be able to operate across all platforms, especially when I'm doing Evernote. And best part of it, if you have Evernote Plus or above, you can email into Evernote. When you download Evernote on your desktop, it magically comes up with a little green elephant icon. So when you tap on that and you tap on an email, you can file that email into those notebooks. So you might not need it now, but you might need it later. So that's a really handy feature. And you can also do it with your iPad and your iPhone. So I just wanted to share that. OneNote. OneNote is a Microsoft product. It's kind of a bit of a black sheep of the Microsoft suite. Not everybody knows about it. It is a free download. They have introduced it for mobile devices. The reason some people like OneNote more than Evernote is for simply this reason. Tabs. Some people's brains work better in a tabbed format. So kind of like having your 3-ring binder. Down the side is your notebooks, and across the top is kind of like, those subdividers. And then down on the right-hand side is your different pages. So you can bring images in, you can add text, you can bring PowerPoints in, you can draw over PowerPoints, you can bring emails in, you can save emails to OneNote from Outlook, and there's some web clippers that you can save some information. So it is a bit of the black sheep of the family, but it does exist. So if you're a Microsoft user, OneNote might be a better solution. I'm not saying one is better than the other. For me, Evernote integrates much better with other platforms. OneNote can only really save to OneDrive, and they're still sorting out their security issues in terms of the way OneDrive is sort of situated at the moment. So, but that's just another option, and that's on the iPad currently. So the benefits of OneNote are, again, knowledge management. You can find things easily, import PowerPoints, syncs across devices, and again, we can email. So this is a piece of digital workflow that I've come up with, just some with apps. So I said you'll get the presentation, but often when you're out in business, you need to be able to scan stuff on the road. So rather than having to go back into the office, scan it in, sign it, send it back out, there's some apps that we can use to make your life a little bit easier. So if you've got a phone or you've got a tablet, Cam Scanner is one. I use Scannable, which is Evernote's product that got released this year. So you want, basically, you need to hold it as horizontally as possible as you can over the document. The best ones are ones where it detects the pages. So you don't, when you're trying to sit there going up and down and it's, so ones that do that are great. You need to be able to also work out, you need to be able to crop the pages. So if, when you're trying to take something and you don't want the tablecloth or whatever's in the background, you need to be able to crop those pages, rotate it because it might be the wrong way around, and you need to be able to export it out, either to cloud storage, to email, or to another app. So that's a really important thing. Drawing on documents. Now, in my line of work, often I have to mark up things or annotate or dictate. And that basically means like adding arrows, adding text, adding Pixlate for Sketch. So Sketch is also an Evernote product. I run Evernote workshops once a month. And Sketch for me is great because I can add those arrows, I can add text, and I can send it back out quickly. Especially who's done a website in the past year or so? Okay, so some of you, we've done our second website. And you're trying to tell someone to do something, or another perfect example was we had a new sliding door installed in our kitchen, and they'd put the cat flap in such a place that when we opened the glass door, I couldn't get through with a washing basket. So they go, yeah, we've measured it up properly. And I go, no, you haven't. And so I took a picture with bright pink, drew an arrow, then drew another picture, or took another picture and indicated the distance of me trying to get through the door with a washing basket, sent it back and go, oh yeah, there's a problem. So Sketch is really good also if you're doing car rentals. When you hire a car and there's a dent, so what you do is you go and take your pictures and then you mark up and draw. So for nothing else, Sketch can be used not just in business. So you need to be able to export the file, email, cloud storage, and job done. So sometimes people go to me, I just want one app that does everything. Doesn't exist. Because often it's people's requirements, like I just want it to do this, and get the job done. So sometimes you might need, I can get sometimes from a 7-step process down to a 3-step process, but just by knowing the right app. So here are my top 5 apps. There's some great project management ones out here. What you want for a project management app is it to be cloud-based, web-based, and mobile-based. Asana is one. Asana is for a project team. It's free up to 15 users. So it's an app. So this is the app version. So you can see where you've got tasks today. You can collaborate. You can add attachments, add files. You can do it on your desktop. You can operate it from your mobile device. And you can see share tasks and reminders and ideas quickly. So that's a really important thing. So Asana is one. Trello is another. If you like, Trello for me is like sticky notes, one under the other. So you can take a sticky note off, so to put it from a to-do list into a done list. You can physically see. If you like sticky notes and like, that vertical order, that's how your brain thinks, then move it from one category to another. So, but Asana is the one I've mentioned there. Pocketbook. David Koch is one of the angel investors for this company. There's a couple of them. There's another one called Boomeranggo, which is a Melbourne startup. They do very similar things. So we set up Pocketbook as a family earlier this year. So you download the app, set up via your desktop. And so when a bill comes in, you can automatically categorise it by what category it fits into. So it might be petrol or phone bill or utilities or entertainment or whatever it is. And you can see and track your expenses. And you can realise, hey, I'm actually spending a little bit more money than I need to be. So for the accountants in the room, this is a brilliant tool for your clients. Educate them. Because it's free. So, that's why I love it, because it's free. It's really easy to manage, and we can check our bank. We don't use the banking app, but I quickly check Pocketbook going, okay, so this is how much I've got to spend this week. This is where the finances are travelling. So for me, Pocketbook is a really good idea. again, so here's Sketch. I also use Sketch. Sketch has a couple of options, but one of them is maps. There's nothing worse than trying to tell someone to get from point A to point B. It's like, I can't find where I'm going. So with Sketch, when you download it, there's a map option. So you type in your address, find what you need, and then you can draw on with squiggly lines or arrows or text, and then you can send it out. The reason I use Sketch on its own is because once I've done the image with the drawings, I can export it anywhere. It can go to an email, it can go to cloud storage, whatever. And another one, that was Alice in Wonderland text. So if you've got Evernote Premium, you can actually mark up PDF documents. So rather than having to print it out, physically highlight it, scan it in, email it off, I've done the process in half the time. So that's one of my favourite ones. Sunrise. This is actually a calendar app. And I actually prefer it to iCal. The reason I prefer it is because these little icons. So, dentist has actually come up with a picture of a tooth. Team lunch, so it's got a picture of a food. Meeting, so I can quickly see, even Skype. If I type in Skype, it immediately comes up with a Skype icon. But better still, this is the thing that gets me all the time, is if I put a location in for my meetings, when I tap on that location, it goes straight to Google Maps. So that's where it's really powerful, because there's nothing worse than going to meetings going, I've got no idea where I've got to go. I've got to copy and paste the address into the Google Maps and do it. And it's free. So you can use it for both mobile and web. And as I said, for me, it's really made a difference to how I run my business, because I can just quickly see it, click on it. If I want with Google Maps, I can then get the GPS to start. So that's another one. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about this, and John talked about automation, and streamlining your business really is about automating some of those tasks. Now, there was an article in the the Age Livewire 2 weeks ago. Katie Sincotta, who's the one of the digital journalists, interviewed me on how I use this. IFTTT, or if this, then that. Another one is called Zapier. So basically is a trigger and an action. So if I do this with one piece of software, an action is going to happen. If you're with social media, so I have one that says, if my name is mentioned on Twitter or my company, then I'm going to get, in Google Drive, there'll be a single row set up with that tweet. Or it goes to Evernote. So I can keep track from a brand awareness point of view. I can keep a track of all my business operations. If you have any home automation products, so I don't know if you've ever seen the Wemo lights or Wemo products. So there's plugs by Belkin. So for example, if you're going away on holiday and you want a light to come on at a certain time to show that you're home, you plug in one of these lights to a existing light fitting, and so you can control via your mobile device when you actually want it to come on. So it says when it hits sunrise or sunset, so when it hits sunset, the light will come on. After how many hours? It will switch off. Or you might have a slow cooker.
You can connect it via like Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's just for this particular product. You just plug it in and then it's hooked up, via Wi-Fi. There's also Dropbox. Again, so if you're saving your photos and you've created photos on Facebook or Instagram and you actually want them saved, if I create a new photo on Instagram, it's immediately going to get saved to a cloud storage. But there's a whole lot of recipes, and they're called recipes. So it says, if I do something here, then this is going to happen. And there's a lot of them, not just for social media. And also if you're gathering information, put your hand up if you're on LinkedIn. For those who aren't who are in the room who aren't on LinkedIn, I would suggest it's a good idea. But one of the things that I do now is I have a recipe that says, if someone connects with me on LinkedIn, and I have a Google Drive account, then a new row is going to be added to a Google Drive spreadsheet. So it's the name of the person, what industry they come from, the picture, there is one, and their LinkedIn connections. So that web link for that person. And it's automatic. So then I can go and filter in that Google spreadsheet, I'm just looking for accountants or I'm just looking for lawyers. So that's really important. But as I said, it's one of my favourite tools. Last but not least, Pinterest. Now, some might think Pinterest is a tool that women use, yes, it is a high female demographic, to pictures of food and holidays and renovations. However, I actually, we're talking about thought leaders and stuff like that. I actually use Pinterest as a way of sharing knowledge. And just like with my Tech Made Simple group, I have a board on Evernote. Now, this is how I actually got into the EBCC program, was I said to Evernote, look, I've got this amazing board on Pinterest. If you Google business, Evernote and business and Pinterest, my board comes up as number 1. So the reason I like this, it's not a static collection. It's an ongoing collection of resources. I've got apps for tradies. So for those who are like in the room who deal with tradies, I've got a board called Apps for Tradies. And people know that they can come and get what they want. If you've put your hand up, if you've never heard of Pinterest. Okay. So Pinterest is, in a short term, is an online corkboard or an online pin board when you can go and make up your own boards, and it's great for SEO. So the specific board titles, depending on what you've got, and it's great for your clients, especially if you're a professional service provider and you're trying to educate. Because people go, I just want to suck your brains out. Just give me all the information. And that's not really possible all the time. But if you have a board set up, one like on superannuation, help for small business owners, then they can go back and look at those resources and they can take what they want. Because you can give them the glossy flies till kingdom come. But the reality is, how much information are they really going to absorb? And Pinterest has got a really powerful search engine. So I have 13,000 followers on Pinterest now, and that's purely organic. Because I go and find stuff, and I put together collections. So if you want to have just been about a taster, and it's just opening your eyes, okay, this is the stuff that's out there. It's not everything, but for me, Evernote is definitely one of my key tools. Sketch is one of my key tools. Pinterest, I use it for social media management to find resources. So all of this stuff can help you in your business. Or, when you just want to find something and go, oh, someone sent you an article. How do you keep that information? So it could be called digital hoarding, but it's structured digital hoarding. So thank you so much, John, for having me today, and hopefully you've got something out of it. Thank you.